Hantel.
Hello, I'm still sick. We're on our way to Tengboche and we're halfway there. That's all I
Leaving Namche Bazaar that morning, we were greeted with some beautiful views of Dablam. But Everest was hidden in the clouds, and unfortunately the clouds only grew thicker as the day progressed.
Well, we're on our way into Tengboche, staying there for 2 nights to acclimatise. It's over there.
By the time we reached Tengboche, we were both exhausted and disillusioned about the whole venture.
Here we are, finally at Tengboche.
Later that night, I lay in my bed and read a cowboy novel by Louis L'Amour. That next morning, Jeff woke around 5 a.m. to perfect clear skies and a first glimpse at the top of the world. Up and at him, as Louis L'Amour might say, as we finally got what we came for. True joy and satisfaction in making it to Tengboche to see the majestic peak of Everest.
Here we are, Tengboche. 5:15 in the morning. It's still pretty cold, but boy, we've got the views today. For once we've woken up to perfect blue skies. A few clouds amongst the peaks, but just picking up the sun as the sun rises. Excellent.
You know, I can't believe how this keeps doing this to us. Every day we say we're going to go back down the mountain because it's shitty weather and Jeff's not feeling so great. But every morning we wake up, we get these perfect days. I guess we just want to keep going, but we'll wait and see. This is unbelievable. By the way, I thought I'd like to mention I haven't had a shower for 3 days and I can't stop farting, so I smell really good. You cold or something?
It's freezing cold here in Tengboche. I went outside for an hour to look at those beautiful mountains and my toes froze. And now I'm back in my nice little warm fart sack.
That's the true face of joy, or constipation. With some local help, we figured out which peak was that of Everest. And little did we know at the time, but only 2 weeks prior to us being there, Rob Hall and his climbing party had met their fate somewhere on Everest's south summit. In fact, we saw a couple of climbing expeditions coming down from base camp. None of them were in good shape.
So there we have it, Mount Everest. Finally we get to see it.
By 8 a.m, the clouds were back in again, and the veil was pulled on our short but memorable view of the mountain. We made the decision there and then to head back down to Lukla, as time was running out, and Jeff's health was not the best.
Strangely enough, we picked up this little dog that's following us along on the trail. It's been following us now for about half an hour. And still is following us.
Following you, Harris, not me.
It stops when we stops and go when we go.
We hiked for 7 hours back to Lukla, over some of the worst bridges I've ever seen.
Hell-swing bridge, but more to come.
I feel like I was in some adventure movie, and at any moment the bridge would give way, and I'd be left hanging there, only to have a yak walk over me and return a favour that was owed.
You can't tell me these things aren't too shady. They're shady.
Here we are, starting our way into Pukting, and this bridge is a shocker.
Even the gal thinks so. He looks pretty worried. Note that it is always good policy to move to the left of these Buddhist religious symbols. The flags actually mean keep away bad spirits. So note that Jeffrey here travelled to the left.
I'm a great guy.
I don't know if these yaks are supposed to travel to the left. Well, I suppose we can have a yak and find out. Wouldn't like one of those horns up your butt, would you?
Making it to Lukla, we were both shattered, but I still had enough in me to write 5 postcards before hitting the hay that night. We could recharge here, as we found out it was going to be a while before we could get a flight out. The next day, we spent our time checking in at the Lukla airport to find out what the flight status was, and like most trekkers, waiting and watching the comings and goings of the local Nepalese airlines. I didn't know it until it had landed, but this old Russian helicopter was to be our flight out back to Kathmandu. At that stage, I'd had enough of hiking. I didn't mind in the least in paying the $83 US fare, even if our ride did seem a little dodgy. It was nice to be back in Kathmandu for a few days. Some time to recharge at the Everest Steakhouse before buying some bus tickets and heading for Pokhara.
Okay, we're viewing Pokhara now from, gotta get it right, Gari. Right?
Karmi.
Gari. And just climbed to the top of this hill. Jeff didn't come up, he's still feeling a bit crook. We also went and checked out a few caves, which is quite interesting as well.
What I want to know is where the hell did I get that t-shirt from? One can only imagine what the locals were thinking. Oh, and I don't have a clue what I was saying here. I think I had a few beers too many. I was probably happy that I finally got my Steinlager hat that my sister sent me from New Zealand. I don't know how many trips to the post office I had to do to get that. We spent a couple of days enjoying the sights of Pokhara. It's Nepal's 3rd largest city, and it's the gateway to the Annapurna mountain range. And in no other place do mountains rise so quickly. In this area, within 30 kilometres, the elevation rises from 3,000 feet to over 23,000 feet. Well, from Pokhara it was back to Kathmandu, and we picked up a few fellow travellers, and we now head for Tibet. And what better way to travel than on top of a bus?
Here we are on the bus on the way to the dairy. But we're on the route, mate. We're having a drunk call. And about 40 people up here before. The bus had 126 people on it this morning. This doesn't make me sick. We're having a good time.
Okay, we decided we're on our way to Tibet, the rough way, on this bus. We're trying to make the border today, if it doesn't break down one more time. So I'll get back to you.
Our time in Nepal was incredible, and there were many more stories to tell, like the night Jeff spent in Pokhara Hospital in a bed that a dead person was in only moments before, or the time in Everest Steakhouse, when we complained about our Everest Trek guidebook to a stranger, only to find out that stranger was Jamie McGuinness, the guy that wrote the book. I could go on and on, but that's the thing about travelling like this. You make the adventure.